It's very hard for you to do this, right? To share this because we worry so much.
I decided, okay, I will not share that with people because they don't understand. They have different mindsets. They never experience it.
And God started speaking to me, and I was like, that's not God. I've been to a lot of parties, but I gotta come back here. Like this, like someone gotta give me the invitation to come back to this one.
All of this stuff could sound like super crazy, but
crazy.
like it's just our experience.
Like it sounds like it's not real, but it's real.
Before ayahuasca, I was very much the type of person to be super anxious about everything. I spent all the money in my bank account. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla. If you have not seen my face already, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. In today's video, I had a beautiful conversation with two amazing souls, Jack and Catalina. I met Catalina at an ayahuasca retreat, and that is what we were talking about today. I met Jack at a protest in Times Square that he organized. We had an amazing conversation about ayahuasca. Kind of wanted to shed some light on plant medicine because there are a lot of scary things on the internet about it, and we kind of wanted to put more information out there just because there's a lot of dark things on the internet about it. What happened for us was very beautiful. We went through a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong, it was very intense for us. However, something really beautiful did come out of it. So I just wanted to be able to showcase three totally different experiences. I've had 3 ceremonies. I think Catalina's had like 10+ ceremonies. I think Jack said he had like 8 ceremonies. Don't quote me on that, but we all have different experiences and different amount that we have done it. Try to have an open mind about this. Here is the video. How did you guys get called to drink ayahuasca?
I was new in this country. I was immigrant. I had so many fears, different issues, and I had difficult relationships. It's how I came to Kundalini Yoga. I started to work on myself, my energy, meditate more. I was interested in these different things. So I heard about ayahuasca. I heard about different experiences, negative, but something inside me light me up. Yeah, it's what I needed. I didn't know why I needed it, and I was searching for that. I remember even one time I went to LA because I heard people do ayahuasca there, and the time when I came there, it was only for male. I didn't know that it's like separate kinds of ayahuasca at the time, so I couldn't do that. But I had some recommendations where I can find it in New York, so I was like searching, and yeah, it happened.
What did they tell you it was going to be? How was it presented to you?
On YouTube, I couldn't find any information about that. I heard only from some people whose friends did ayahuasca, and they shared an interesting experience, like out-of-body experience, how their lives changed a lot after that, and I said, oh wow, I need that. I remember when I was going to my first ayahuasca, I was very responsible with diet. I ate almost only berries. So I was afraid to make some blockages in my body. I heard like I can die, or my soul will not come back. And I also like warned some people, maybe I will not come back. I'm going to ayahuasca, but I feel calling. I need to do that.
What year was it?
Around 5 years ago.
Okay, so I can imagine, there was not many videos online talking about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember it was a house, Staten Island, and there were a lot of weird people because I thought that here will be like spiritual people gathering, wearing all white and like with crystals, And when I came there was like people who smoke.
Or were they smoking cigarettes?
Cigarettes. They were like not my vibe, very tough energies. I was scared, but I didn't have car. I couldn't drive back home.
Oh wow, so you just did it.
I surrendered the process. I felt people's struggles, they release all their fears. This shaman worked with people who had drugs addictions, like alcoholics. So it was very tough energies.
Yeah, for me, I was invited to a plant medicine. It was peyote, like around 2019. At that point in my life, I was just saying yes to different experiences. And then I did it, and it was like one of the most unique experiences of my life. It was all night in the desert, people singing and chanting and doing all these like smoking things and powder, and I was like, what is going on? The feeling that I got was one of the most blissful feelings. And then people were just talking about ayahuasca in that ceremony, like, when I done ayahuasca, and I was like, what's ayahuasca? Like, I never heard of that. So then I just set the intention, like, next year I'm going to do it. And then it was January 2020, right before pandemic. I met a mentor of mine. He actually was a famous author. He wrote this book, Never Eat Alone. Have you heard of it?
I don't think so.
It's a very famous author. I'm like a big fan of his, and he invited me to do it, and I was like, oh, sure, let's go. It was like a group of entrepreneurs, so it was really expensive. I think the whole thing was like $5,000. I mean, I was like, geez.
That's what it was for us.
For you guys, right? Yeah. I just came back from Asia for like 6 weeks. I was like, man, I don't know if I could spend
Because the
$5,000.
ayahuasca cost me like $200.
The first time?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I mean, I think that's what it usually, if there's nothing around it,
Right.
if it's just like that. But there was like a whole thing, and I drank it, and it was 3 days in Mexico, Playa del Carmen, and it was absolutely amazing. It was life-changing. Absolutely. It was, you know, the places that I went while I was on ayahuasca, it's so hard to explain because it wasn't like 3D. It was in a different dimension, right? I was going back in time. I was like seeing myself as a kid who's like in a lot of pain, and I didn't realize that was still impacting me. So I would, you know, go back as myself now and go and hug the kid, you know, when I was crying, and I was crying so much. And that's kind of how it was introduced to me.
In Costa Rica, during my second ceremony, ayahuasca cleansed me from my New York ayahuasca experiences.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine
Oh,
that?
wow.
You were telling me that the last time you did it in New York, ayahuasca told you to not do it here again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because my intentions were very materialistic, I think. In Costa Rica, my first ceremony, after my first cup, I didn't feel anything. I decided, okay, I will just enjoy this concert because a lot of shamans were singing, and it was very nice place, candles. It reminded me like wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
So I just enjoyed, listened music. When it was time for second cup, I asked ayahuasca, please, I just wanna feel you. I just wanna feel this happiness, your spirit. I just wanna be connected with these people, with nature. Just let me experience this just pure happiness. And she came to me. And after that, my intentions were very different.
How's your experience?
I can't even put into words, but I'm going to try. For me, being called to the medicine was actually very quick. It happened very abruptly. I had heard about ayahuasca probably about a year or two prior from a friend of a friend, and all they said was that they puked everywhere. I think they may have went just to like go get high, and I think that was what their experience was. I didn't feel like connected to it at the time, so I was like, oh, I'm never going to do that. But for some reason there was something in me that I was really interested in it. So this last year I was on the phone with my friend Tori, and I had watched a documentary prior, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to do ayahuasca, and that just came out of my mouth. I didn't think about it. I don't know, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go drink ayahuasca. Like, it just came out of me, like I said it. I'm just like, why did I say that actually? The very next day, Erin Dowdy released the ayahuasca retreat information via email.
Oh wow, so you were just following an email.
Yeah, and it came through. And I didn't think I could at first just because of money and stuff. Like, okay, like, this is very like quick. Had I had time to prepare, maybe, but but like, this is very quick. I was like, I'm just gonna apply, see what happens. I still wasn't sure, so like I was sitting there getting all these signs, you know, that I'm supposed to be doing this, ignoring them, like just completely ignoring them. And until finally, this is going to sound absolutely insane, but I felt ayahuasca's energy in my room.
Oh, ayahuasca.
Yes.
I felt something similar.
Yes. And I'm getting cold chills right now. I had never felt any spiritual presence in my apartment that I was in until that time. I felt it at night when I was going to sleep, and I wasn't sure what it was. And in the morning I woke up and I felt her like right there, like with me. I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go. I hopped on the call. It just felt right. I spent all the money in my bank account.
Totally, I get it.
I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then boom, and I'm like, okay, I have nothing.
Like years later, you won't even think about the money?
No.
Yeah, so it's like, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's funny, because a lot of people say this, like, they feel the ayahuasca before it happens. My theory of that is, like, there's all these realities happening at the same time. The ayahuasca drinking, it already happened at some point in the future in, like, a different, you know, dimension or universe, and, like, your body is just knowing and preparing for that, and it's just catching up to it.
You know what's really interesting you say that? I totally believe in what you're saying with the different realities. My second ceremony, I saw my past life, which is really insane to me because I sort of believed in past lives beforehand, but the ayahuasca ceremony really made me believe in it because I saw him and he was in an ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, you were a man?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he was in an ayahuasca ceremony, and I got like facts about his life. I didn't really dive too much into it. Yeah, I saw him in an ayahuasca ceremony, which is really interesting to me because it makes sense how this all happened. Before ayahuasca, I was very much the type of person to be super anxious about everything. Typically, if I was in this scenario, I would typically be very scared to drink ayahuasca. I 100% trusted them. I 100% just went in and just surrendered. Yeah, it made sense on the second ceremony, knowing I had done it before. But after knowing that, and also everything that came along with it, I was so overwhelmed. I think you
was next to me.
You know. No, that was the first night I was next to you. The second night I was on the men's side. My intention was to tap into my feminine energy because I had never really felt that before. And I was very like in my masculine energy, working a lot. I wasn't able to feel any feminine energy, and a lot of that stemmed from trauma with my mom.
Right.
The second night they told me there's not a lot of beds on the women's side, so you're gonna have to be on the men's side tonight. And instantly, like, I just felt like I was gonna cry because I was like, oh no, this is so messed up. I'm not supposed to be doing this. But then I just trusted. I'm like, okay, you know, it's gonna work out.
Right.
And what was really interesting about it is I really was meant to be on the men's side, because for the first time in my life, I felt like I could just be in my feminine, and like I was just a mess crying. And this guy next to me, he went up and got one of the workers, and she came over to me to comfort me. And like that was like a sense of protection that I didn't really feel before. And so it was very important for me to be on the men's side so that I could be in my feminine energy.
Right,
otherwise I'm just protecting everybody.
Right.
I've always felt such a protection like energy because that's what I was taught by my dad. You would think it would be the other way around, but he protected me, so then I go and protect other people, and that's kind of where that stemmed from.
Yeah, I think back to what you were saying with the past life. There's a book called Many Lives, Many Masters. It's like a really quick short read. It's about this very well-known doctor from New York. It was like the top of his department at like Columbia, and he was doing all these conferences, he was speaking, and he was like one of the more well-known psychologists, right? He had a case where he couldn't understand why he couldn't help this woman. And he just didn't know. He tried everything, and then he put her in a state of hypnosis, and then started realizing she had past life trauma.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he went in the past life and solved her trauma.
Wow.
You know, he thought he was crazy because like he's like this like well-researched, awarded psychologist, and he couldn't publicly come out with it because people would think he's crazy. And then he's done like hundreds of past life cases now, and then he went public with it to talk about it, and like he wrote a book on it, and it's like a crazy.
I'm gonna have to read that.
Yeah, it's like people have like wild past life issues that still carry into this life.
It's interesting. We were at same ceremony, drinking same ayahuasca, but I had like a completely different experience. And I remember my first night. It was so much joy. Like this next part of the second cup, I was in other people's bodies. Even some of them were as a ceremony. I jumped between bodies and I felt their emotions.
Oh wow.
And not that like I know all their secrets or everything, no, but I just felt how they feel inside and why they feel like these emotions to me. I could understand them better, and I was crying because sometimes we think about from our side. I felt how people feel and why they feel that. So it was very interesting. I also was at my mom's body. I felt everything she feels to me, because sometimes she likes call me a lot. I don't like talk on my phone. We have different time zones. Like I always complain she distract me. And after I was in her body, I understood how it's important for her to hear my voice and what she feels like as a mother. Like it's changed my relationship with her. And also I've been in one person body I like a lot. So and I could understand him better, and I understood his relationship to me.
I think it's like compassion, right? You have more empathy and compassion towards him.
Yeah, because I was only concentrated on me. Only me exists. I didn't know like other people's separate universe. And also I had interesting experience myself as another person. And she's pretty famous, but I was in her body. I don't want to mention her name. She's also a channeler. She speaks to aliens. And as I was her, I had this ability to channel information and talk to aliens. And I did that during ayahuasca ceremony, but it was not like my skills. I just been her and I did it. Ayahuasca showed me like I should breathe differently. I even don't know how to repeat it. It was very different. I connected to this high vibration and I could like communicate with them. It was very interesting. It's difficult to explain. I'm so sorry.
Especially it is really difficult. Yeah. For me, every individual ceremony was so entirely different. My first ceremony, I feel like I was just being introduced to ayahuasca or reintroduced, and I just felt an insane amount of love that I've never felt in my life. I was just crying like nonstop, sitting on the grass, looking at the stars. It was probably the most beautiful experience I've ever had. The second night, I literally like left this world, went I don't know where. I keep trying to find the words of like where to describe this place I went, but all I know is like it felt like home, and it felt like where I'm from.
Right, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from.
And I was,
where we're from.
Yeah, I was just like up in the universe. I saw a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I was extremely overwhelmed when I came back into my body. I was actually the last one in the ceremony.
To come out.
Yeah, a typical ceremony I believe lasts around like what, 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I was high for like 15 hours.
Oh well, you were in it. You were in it for like 15 hours.
Yeah, I think I left the ceremony space around 2 a.m. Couldn't sleep. Ayahuasca's still like working in my system.
That's powerful.
It was a little rough. Not gonna lie.
Like I live in Avatar movie and 5D.
Yeah.
Even some men that are like really big dudes that I've met were like in it for like 18 hours. Yeah, it could be intense.
And in my last ceremony, I slept like the whole time. And I came out of it pissed off.
Oh, you just slept? Did you have dreams?
No, I didn't have anything. She told me to go to sleep. And I was like, I don't want to go to sleep. And she was like, no, I'm going to work on you in your sleep. You know, go to sleep.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so here I'm thinking it was like 20, 40 minutes. It was like the whole time.
Oh, wow.
And I woke up to the sun rising. One of the girls was like screaming. And
oh my God, freaking out.
I was like, I wish I could be on her level right now because I feel sober.
Did you like notice your skin was nicer after drinking Aya? So crazy. Because I went one time in Puerto Vallarta, and before that I was like a week-long retreat somewhere else, and I was like waking up at like 6 a.m. got on a flight at like 7:30 in LAX, got to Mexico and Puerto Vallarta, took a boat, took a taxi, and then I'm finally there at 8 p.m. the next day, you know, haven't eaten, I feel like crap. We walked and then we took a boat to where we were gonna drink, and now we're drinking. It's like 10 p.m. I haven't really slept. Started drinking the Aya at like 11 p.m. and this specific group, they like to do it until the morning. We finished the ceremony at like 10 a.m. sunrise, everything, then the whole sharing circle. So we didn't finish till like 12 p.m. Then we went to get breakfast, got back to my room at 3 p.m. and that night I had puked. Any night where you puke, you think you look like crap, right? Because it's like, it sounds like a rough night. And also I haven't slept in like a gazillion hours. I look in the mirror and I'm like glowing, and I'm like, how is this even possible?
When I went to the restroom, every time I was like,
yeah, right? Like how?
near the mirror.
Yeah, I was like that too. I was like, damn, I'm gonna look, whoa, hold on.
I was glowing, yeah.
First in Manhattan, ayahuasca, during the ceremony, I seen different energies, and I was, oh my God, I'm so beautiful.
Oh.
My hands are so beautiful.
Right.
I felt myself so beautiful. I was like, wow, it's me.
Yeah, it is you. Yeah.
And I loved my every movement. It was like,
right,
like a dance.
Yeah.
I was falling in love.
What was really funny is the shaman actually told us like not to look in the mirror too long. And I remember I looked in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, my pupils are huge.
Oh, are they super dilated?
They were, because my pupils are already like pretty big
they're
usually.
Pretty big,
but like it was like a whole other level, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna look at myself in the mirror again. I know you mentioned puking, but what was some of the ways that you purged?
Mostly just puking.
Okay.
I've done it 8 days, and I puke like 50% of the time.
Wow.
Not
That's
all
a
the time.
lot.
Is it? You didn't puke at all?
At all? No.
Yeah, the first 3 times I didn't puke at all either. More of the last few I've been puking. I don't know why.
Or releasing something.
Yeah.
My purging was mostly like a lot of crying and a lot of yawning, to the point where I literally had cracks in the corners of my mouth because I was yawning so big and so much.
Yeah.
In Costa Rica, during the second ceremony, when Aya cleaned me from my previous ceremonies, I did that.
Yeah.
And I remember my intention was to open my heart more, to feel more love in life. And I thought I will feel just love and these flowers and good mood. and I was crying a lot. I cried all ceremony and I birth.
Wow.
So, and she showed me shaman with who I did my previous ceremony, and she showed me like his demonic face.
Oh,
I
wow.
understood he
Oh,
worked
wow.
for more dark energies, not pure intention.
Yeah.
So would you recommend that, like, if you feel off in the beginning of the ceremony, like, to leave, or?
It's not possible. I can tell that all ceremonies I did with him were very helpful for me too. He used his power without pure intention. It still was very helpful for me because I went through these ceremonies. I was allowed to come to this higher vibrational place.
Yeah.
During these ceremonies I did here, I always seen his face like it's shifting, and he looked very ugly, scared, and his assistant also. And they always were hiding their face. And I thought maybe I see them ugly, dangerous because I have this energy in me. That's why I see that around. But I brought my friend for this ceremony, and she told me I was looking at you during ceremony, and she said you look like a doll. You had perfect skin, so I thought maybe it's something wrong with the shaman because I always see him like that.
Yeah, don't ignore that. It's real.
So and after ayahuasca showed me, she cleansed my energy.
I was next to you of the first ceremony, and I also thought you looked like a doll. You were literally just like perfect, like just laying there. Yeah. I mean, this was like my first time drinking Aya. They did like a prayer. I don't have like a religion. I don't know what the hell I believe in. I'm more like agnostic than anything. I really enjoyed that they cleansed the energy. They said no dark spirits are welcome here. Only positive, only love. I really, really liked the setting, and then they smudged us. We went up to drink. I think a lot of people would ask how it tasted because that was something that I was curious about. I think it's different for everybody, but how was it for you?
It didn't taste good. It's kind of thick, you know.
Okay.
Well, Asians, we drink plant medicine for a long time. So like the plant medicines we drink, you know, it's thick too, and it's like not that good, but like you just do it. So is it better than a shot of alcohol?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's way
taste
better
delicious.
for you.
I think it's like very strong, like green tea, something like that. Like very, very strong, and it's like difficult to swallow.
Yeah, like it feels like it's stuck there for a long time.
Oh, a little bit, like it's just kind of like here. Maybe I didn't really taste it very much because I really just shot it back to my throat because that was my main concern going into it, is that I was gonna puke first thing. I was really scared about that, but for me it was a lot easier than I anticipated. I could just compare it to like cough syrup of the way it burned a little bit, but I don't think I necessarily tasted it too much. It just was kind of sitting right here, like you said. They said not to drink water, but I drank like a tiny sip.
My first time they gave me like a stick of honey in there, like take some honey.
I just remember something. When my first ceremony started, Aya started showing me like in a museum with new technologies where we should expect in the like nearest future. I was walking and I see all these like new IE technologies.
AI?
I can't describe that, but she just introduced me all new technologies.
Yeah, it feels like that's like source.
So it was cool. And maybe 3 years ago I had one ceremony and she showed me something similar, like people going to be like cyborgs, will live like 200 years, and she always showed me that artificial intelligence, okay, it's good, we should not afraid, because people afraid that, right? And every ayahuasca ceremony they showed me like it's okay, it's good, it's a new era.
Glad to hear.
What was one of the biggest moments in your ayahuasca experience that you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I was like you, I never believed in God. I mean, I went to church when I was 6, Christian school for a little bit, and parents were Buddhist, but I just didn't understand what God was. And then there was one time, like my 3rd ceremony, I went to heaven, and I was like, this can't be heaven. This is like crazy. I was walking around, it's all white, but it just seemed like the most epic party. It was like half animal, half human beings, and they're just lounging. And I was like, I've been to a lot of parties, but I gotta come back here. Like this, like someone gotta give me the invitation to come back to this one. Put me on the list. And then God started speaking to me, and I was like, that's not God. God was like, why me? Like, I'm not religious, I don't pray, like, I'm not special, like, why? And God was like, why not? And God was telling me things like, there's only one planet, there was a war coming, it's like, stop killing animals, they're not there for you to kill always. And then I came out of it, I'm like peeling out off the floor, like, like I'm back. Yeah. And I'm looking around, like, I was like, no one's gonna believe me if I tell them that. I don't even talk about God at all. And then right next to me, there was this man who was like in his late 50s. He was like grunting and making all these noises the whole time. Like the whole time, I was like, damn it, why is he next to me? You know, he's laying on the floor. He picks his hand up. And I'm like, oh shit, like he needs me, right? So I just grab his hand, you know, like, you know, just don't say anything. He pulls me down. Like, oh, what happened? Like he picks his head up. He's like, God is with us. He's always been with us. Whoa. And then he goes back down and knocks out for like 3 hours. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God. And I asked him, like, do you remember that? He was like, yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really, really interesting.
It was pretty crazy. Yeah, and I'm like, man, if I tell my friends this, they're gonna think I'm crazy, but like, whatever.
That's how I feel. I can't talk to just anybody about this stuff. I have, and they're just kind of sitting there like,
yeah, you're crazy.
But it's difficult to not talk because it's a goes through. Even I decided, okay, I will not share that with people because they don't understand. They have different mindsets. They never experienced it. So it's difficult to understand that and accept it. But I decided that, and then my mom was like, open it, blah, 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 blah. I can't hold it. It's like energy works. It just goes through you, and you share it. Yeah.
But I also feel like sometimes when you talk about it too much, it takes away from like what actually happens, because our words are so limited. And like the experience is so like
so much more than you can
describe.
It's
so much.
Sounds
so then
like
the words, they actually limit the experience, right? Because it's so much more. But then when you put words to it, that's how you associate it with those words.
Yeah, and other people perceive different words differently too. Yeah. So like that's why I tell people when I talk about this, if you really want to understand it the best possible way, you need to picture it like 10 times more than what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
because
a good way.
This is all I can say. And coming out of my second experience, I was like, how can I share this with people and not seem absolutely nuts? Insane. This was like the big thing for me where I went up, I don't even know where, and I saw like this like egg-shaped dome, like maybe like a UFO, and I was like above the galaxies. I don't know what's up there, but I was just like really far. I don't know how to describe it. So I was just up there and I see these beings and they are just sitting there, and there's like this technology. They're like watching things on a screen. You know, like the toolbar of a MacBook, it kind of looked like that with like a bajillion different like planets and such. And like Earth was just the tiniest little one of them.
Right.
And that just like overwhelmed me so much because I kind of had a feeling, you know, there's more out there, but I never actually saw
the intelligence. Yeah, I started to see intelligence.
Yeah, it's something that I literally cannot describe into words, and that's like a big lesson I learned, is that our human brains are not meant to comprehend such things.
No.
And this is why we don't know the answers to everything. In the 3D, we can't. Like, our human brains is not like compatible enough to understand these things. Even talking about it right now, like, I don't know what I went through. I just saw stuff, felt stuff, and here I am.
Like, it sounds like it's not real, but it's real.
Yeah.
You know, it's very multi-dimensional experience, but same time, ayahuasca grounded me a lot because before I practiced like Kundalini yoga every day, like 2 hours. My feet never was on ground, like I always were somewhere, and I was so ungrounded. I couldn't communicate with people because it was always wrong energy. After ayahuasca, I integrated. Now I can balance. Like I can operate in this life. I can make money. So interesting that it's out of body experience, but same time it's very grounded.
Yeah. What was like the biggest lesson that you guys have learned with ayahuasca?
I don't know. We are creators, so we can manipulate, play. Just do not take this life too serious. If you don't like what's going on, just don't believe in that. Keep your focus on what you want.
For me, I think what helps the most is you can't see it, but like the energy is so real. All the little things that make us, that I was able to see it when I was on Aya.
Do you feel it?
Feel it. I see it. I'm like, oh, like they're all there. It's like so many little things that are working, right? And these little things, they can be influenced. We have to be nice to it. You can't like treat it bad. Speak to it in a higher way. Say thank you. Send your body parts love, because there's so many little things that we don't see that's all just like happening in the background. It's working for us, but we don't really treat it in a good way.
Yeah.
So that was one of my lessons.
Feel energy of other people, because it opens this ability to feel
Be more
people.
sensitive, yeah.
And some people ask, how do you feel this energy? How do you see? Because sometimes you say has good energy or something like that. You say, and other people ask how you see energy.
Yeah.
It's difficult to describe. You just
can't
like know.
It's like how you feel when you're around people a lot too. You feel weird around them, or you feel like uncomfortable, like not safe.
Right.
Because even my familiar surroundings, I change it now again because I feel it's more like deeper.
After coming out of ayahuasca and now being in the world again, I'm curious because I know within myself, but I haven't spoken to anybody else about this. Do you feel anything like different physically in your body, or like any energetic level of intuitive psychic abilities? Anything in general that you didn't have before that you have now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel a lot less back pain.
Okay. Wow.
I feel a lot less pain and like a lot less anxiety.
That's amazing.
That's so random. It's like, wow, like
Yeah.
ayahuasca just heals everything.
Yeah.
But I also understand like the back pain, it comes from stress. The anxiety part, just feeling random anxiety, especially living here in New York. Like, wake up, the cars are beeping, and you hear ambulance like all the time. It's kind of in the background, but it's still programming you. It helped work on that. Yeah, as for psychic abilities, it's just knowing that if I could pray and like knowing that something or someone or some intelligence is listening, having that communication with it. They say if you notice them, they notice you. Kind of like anything, right? Like a cat or a dog. Like you'd be like, hey dog. It's like eye contact, right? So like I want the intelligence to notice me. It's like up to me for me to be like, hey, like I'm here. Don't forget about me. Let's make some cool things. Like.
I remember after my first ayahuasca ceremonies, I predicted some circumstances. I was driving, like download some thoughts, like slow down, and here was like bikers ahead me, and they like fall down. Like, I got these messages before it happened, and I remember I was in a supermarket, and I got like this message to buy candies to my neighbor, and I didn't know why I got this message, and I decided, okay, I will listen, and I bought candies, and when I got home, I met her on stairs, and I said, wait, I have present for you. We had always scheduled conversation. We were not close friends. I said, okay, I have candies for you, and she started crying. And she said, today is my birthday, and you're only one who gave me a gift. Like, like I have a lot of like this coincidence, and I was shocked for myself. Wow.
Right.
And I started trust more my soul, my feeling. I feel more connected to my power.
Yeah, your intuition. It's amazing.
I started noticing that I feel like tingling within my hands, and like anytime I'm meditating, anytime I'm just in a Zen state, I actually even feel it right now. I just start feeling energy, and I feel like almost ayahuasca is with me.
How long has it been since you drank?
It was March. So I don't know if other people had this experience in their ceremonies, so I'm curious. But during my ceremony, I don't want to say this word because it doesn't describe it in the way that I felt it, but almost like possessed in a way. Like my body was. My mind was still kind of there, but she was moving my body very, very slowly. This was something I was not expecting at all. I just learned to just like let her do her thing, and I was just like moving in very weird ways. Like if someone saw me, they'd be like, what the hell is going on?
I know how ayahuasca can move your body. She took my hands and hugged myself, and she showed me that I have all love of this world. Like I'm whole, I'm loved. Every time I need to feel love, I can hug myself. It's like her hands like hugging me.
I felt a lot of pressure, like right here, like it was gonna pop. I kept on putting my thumb here to massage it. I was like, what the hell's happening? And they were like, oh, the shaman was, the shaman was like, your thumb is like the key that unlocks like this part of your brain. Yeah, one of the shamans, he was just like walking around, he saw a guy who was like really stuck. He took his thumb and he hit him in the heart with it.
Whoa.
And I was like watching him. And then the guy was like, oh, and he just starts crying, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was very interesting.
All of this stuff could sound like super crazy, but
crazy.
Like it's just our experience. We tried to describe, but like I said, there's no words that could possibly like describe what we all went through. To experience it is a totally different story. How did you guys do with like integrating back into the real world? How was that?
I'm still integrate.
Yeah,
Usually after every ceremony, I had respond from universe. I seen big difference and like what I requested during 1 month or 3 months, but in a very positive way. But this ceremony, I still can put my life together.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge shift.
Yeah.
And I feel and I know that everything I'm going through now, it's for the better, definitely, because I'm with you now here. So it also proves me.
Yeah, for me, a lot of it, I felt like a baby again. I felt like I was a kid again for a long time, and then I also felt like I was in my feminine a lot, which was newer to me because I've always been in my masculine, just like building and creating and you know, fighting and all these things. And finally I was in a feminine space. I was actually there for like a long time, like a year, which is something to pay attention to because like I started noticing I was like crying all the time and just like always feeling things, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was but the key is after a certain amount of time you have to integrate it back with your yang. I think most men, they go through life without ever feeling their heart, right? They're always in their mind, and then now I feel my heart, and then I have to integrate it back and learn how to adapt it with it, right? Not just be at the yin all the time. Yeah.
Also, I think ayahuasca helped me to express my emotions very freely. Some people, they're afraid because I express myself like what I feel in like very easily. If I love, I can say I love. You know, because so many people are afraid of these emotions, and some of them like, are you always happy? Or how you can be like that?
Right.
You know, because they live in their mind.
At some point, we just stop worrying about anybody's thinking.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this, right? Because we don't care. Like, well, whatever, you can judge us.
It's just flow.
I filmed like preparing for ayahuasca. I have not yet put it on YouTube of what I went through. So the previous 3 videos to this will literally be like my 3 ceremony experiences.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to get there because I thought I'd be able to share it right away, and there was no possible way that that was happening. When I came back into society, I actually had to move like 7 days later. And so none of my stuff in my apartment was packed. I was just sitting there feeling like I was still with ayahuasca. I remember I was on my couch for the longest time just like listening to medicine music. I actually had to end the diet early because I needed something to ground myself back to reality. I needed to pack my stuff and leave.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't the best timing, so I definitely would not do that again or recommend doing that because I didn't realize how important integration actually was. The ceremony isn't just like the ceremony, it's afterwards too and before.
It is, yeah.
Thank you for coming, you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys sharing your experience.
Thank you so much.
You're great.
Where can everyone follow you?
My Instagram, new YouTube coming soon because they're coaching me on it. I just think, you know, if you're watching this, be open to the share because it's very hard for you to do this, to share this because we worry so much about how other people perceive us, especially in the online community and, you know, where we are now, it's difficult. So, you know, just be open to it. If you have something nice to say or have a question, you can leave it in the comments. But if you have something mean to say, let's not say it.
Thank you for having us. It's a great conversation. I think we should speak more about that. When I needed to know more about ayahuasca, I couldn't find any information. So maybe our experience will help other people.
That was my intention in this video, is to just be open to sharing and being able to hear other people's experiences rather than it also being demonized, because before I went I saw a lot of negativity about it as well. I can't say it's wrong because that was their experience. That's what these people experienced, but it's not all like that. Something really beautiful does come out of it.
Usually people say that ayahuasca is bad, so people who never tried ayahuasca and they tell you hundreds reasons why you should not do that.
Or like one of their friends done it and they just like don't have a good perception of their friends.
People think it's drugs or something.
Grows from the earth. And these plants are here to teach us and help us in this 3D life. So.
I became a happier person, so I'm glad I is in my life.
You have a yoga mat company?
Yeah.
Where can they go and follow you?
I think we will leave all links.
Yes, I will leave the links to everything down in the description below. Thank you guys. for sharing. I know this was a tough subject to talk about.
Thank you, dear. You did great.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!